It was 6:45, which is the time I usually get up for work, only it was Saturday, my one day of the week to relax and sleep in. I woke up, roughly around 7:30, to the sound of my house phone ringing. I was initially going to answer, but I figured chances were it was just a telemarketer, so I decided if it was important, they could leave a message, and I went back to sleep. I got out of bed around 10:45. I made my way to the kitchen and I fixed myself a cup of coffee. I had a few sips, and then I went outside to retrieve my morning paper. It seemed like any other typical Saturday morning in the neighborhood. I picked up my paper and I went back inside. This is when my normal Saturday morning took a bizarre twist. Out of the corner of my eye, I could see a red blinking light coming from the phone. I'd forgotten someone had called the house earlier. The message was short and to the point.
End of messages.
My initial thought was to call the police, but the more I thought about it, the more I convinced myself it was only a joke. Plus, there's probably nothing the cops could have done. I wanted to be lazy and not have to deal with the situation, so I dismissed the message as nothing but a prank phone call, and I erased it. It was midday and I'd finally gotten around to eating some cereal and reading my newspaper, only I couldn't stop thinking about the message. I didn't know what to make of it at the time. For all I knew, it could have been Death himself warning me I would choke and die on my breakfast, so I ate carefully. I sat down on the couch and turned on the TV.
Want to lose weight?
Popular pie.
There was nothing good on, so I turned it off. My Saturday was ruined by one stupid message. No matter how much I told myself it was a joke, I could not escape the thought of the message potentially being true. So I rested my head and I closed my eyes. That is until roughly around 8:30 p.m. when there was a knock at my door. I thought maybe if I just pretended I wasn't home, it would stop. But it didn't. Each knock louder than the previous. The porch light was off, making it impossible to see who was standing on the other side of the door. I once again attempted to convince myself the message was only a joke, that there was no reason to be worried. I flipped on the switch. It was quiet. The knocking stopped. It was my neighbor. But before I could say anything, he shot me. His name was Donald. I actually met him first through work, which is where this tragedy was instigated. People heckled and joked around with Donald. I guess one day, he just snapped. He killed 3 co-workers. I was the only lucky one. Police found Donald dead in his house shortly after he shot me. He committed suicide. I was helplessly wedged between the tasteless jokes at work and Donald's twisted act of revenge. I never wanted anything to do with this. And I guess no matter how hard I tried to keep a safe distance, I couldn't escape the fact we were neighbors. Now that it's all over, I've been left with this sick feeling in the pit of my stomach. I can't help but think this tragedy ends with me getting the last dreaded laugh. Only it was never funny. In the end, I guess I shamefully have Donald to thank for opening my eyes. I once hated waking up and going to work, but not anymore.